Yeah.
I'll turn my camera on once I can. I'm trying to finish
Okay,
up a
no
smoothie.
worries.
All
No,
right. Thank you.
no worries, no worries. So, I guess my first question for you, first of all, welcome to all and those who are watching the replay. And I would love to hear from you what your reflections are for the day 3 challenge and any one of these questions. But here are the 3 questions. What part of me still associates my desire with pain or pressure or harm? So something that you really want, that big thing that you said at the beginning of day 1 that you said you want. Why is there a part of you that doesn't feel safe with it? That's the first question. Or how have you made, like, if you're feeling great and everything's easy, does that make you feel unproductive? Like, is that like bad for some reason? Have you judged that? And then the last is, if you were completely relaxed in everything you do, how do you think your business would operate? Like, how, if you were able to stay in that state more often than not, and you trusted it and trusted what was going to happen, how would you show up differently in your work? So that's my quick question to you. Who you two who are here, and you can answer any of those.
I love that. I'll jump in,
Yeah.
Adis, unless you wanted to go first.
Oh, go ahead.
I I the thing I want still sort of feels a little too bigger than I can hold. And I've been present to things my arms have been full, and I need to put some things down in order to pick up the things I really do want. Um, and when I believe it's true and it feels really good in my body, um, it's it's a pleasure and a super productive time for me because but before this call started, I was saying I'm experiencing when I'm calm and centered and feeling that good, I'm able to make really good decisions very easily and quickly. And even I see the consequences. It's not like rose-colored glasses. It's just I'm like, and that's still the right choice for me to be taking. Um, and I do have an old way of being that burnout is a badge of honor.
Mm,
And I'm like, wait, if this feels luxurious and spacious, then I must not be working hard enough. And and I'll notice an urge to get busy on things that are maybe even not as much fun as I want, just so I can think I've done something.
that is such a great description. So there's this old pattern of like getting busy. If once you're feeling luxurious and like relaxed and doing stuff, then you're like, oh, I got to do more.
I got to do
Um,
more. Yeah, there's an anxiety that's not enough. Um, that
I can
yeah, I
relate.
soothe with the busyness.
That's a wow. Okay.
And it doesn't serve me well. I see that, and yet I notice I still have that pattern.
Yeah. So that's the pattern that gets to be addressed. Cool.
Yes,
Easier said than done.
always.
Cool, but that's what we do. That's what we will be focusing on in the cohort. How about you, Adis? I know you've been in the most recent cohort, and so you've got a lot of this under your belt, or an understanding. Oop, are you with us? Oh, there you
Yes,
are.
I'm here. I was wrapping up my notes. So I think I have two. I put down and I recognize basically like a pattern of fear of failure, especially when it's linked to money or data. So if I'm like, I have the goal of having these amount of sales this month or this quarter, and I don't even accomplish 50% of them, like I freak out to the point where I don't even know how to reset or how to catch it earlier.
Yeah.
Um, and then that could obviously be linked to fundraising for my startup and investors. And the second one is, and you've heard me talk about this one in the past, and I have burnt out because of it, but it's this level of anxiety that I don't know if it's because of my upbringing or having to learn another language and blah 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 blah. But just have anxiety about being an effective leader or like failing or being like falling short for my team, my advisors, and obviously my investors because people have trusted me with their money and they want results. And so that is one that I continue to try to up level with, but it's just very hard in the days where I just feel in the hole or there are no good news in the horizon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And so if you trusted that when you completely relaxed, all these things would sort themselves out, how would you show up differently?
Um, I think I'm with the pattern of a fear of failure for things linked to money. I'm trying to be better already by
Mhm.
um having a better morning routine. So whether it's walking my dog or just like journaling.
Mhm.
But outside of that, actually looking for help. So my own boss, I've asked for mentorship in it. I've joined different, sales and whatnot, webinars to coach me through it. For fundraising, I cannot tell you the number of people that have reached out to be like, okay, yeah, we can help you fundraise, but we'll take 5% of whatever. And then it's on a 30K upfront charge. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, that
But I
should not
did,
be.
yeah,
Yes.
I did find somebody that even has a master class and then would coach, and his guarantee is really solid. I have not engaged with him yet, but that is someone that I would trust with this level of stage and seeing the play like what the playground looks like for fundraising right now.
Mhm.
He basically like walks into each meeting with you as a founder and tells everyone in the room as investors are going to take a big risk and likely lose all their money. And then at the end, after you do your pitch, he's the one that closes the deal. And so learning from someone like him who's been, serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, et cetera, will be fantastic when I can't afford him.
It's interesting though, because my question to you was, what if you trusted yourself to do it?
hmm
That you don't need this guy to do it for you.
Yeah, I would probably attempt it, but I'd have to start with some very low-hanging fruits so that I don't, approach and burn bridges with the right investors.
Hmm. Hmm.
And now with the help of AI, I actually joined I think I mentioned to you yesterday, Gus had a really good webinar about how to optimize AI to channel out your fundraising investor list, but then also CRM with HubSpot and
Yes.
prepare for
Yeah.
meetings and prepare for follow-ups and then prepare for when they ask for due diligence that everything is neat and tidy and ready to just be
Yes.
provided. So with that in mind, I think I can bring it on as a challenge in this next quarter.
Hmm.
Um, it just would be nice if I can get at least one other team member back on my team so that I can
Yes.
focus on just that and not everything else.
Right. Right. And I guess I knowing you, Adis, I know you
hmm
can do it without this guy going into the room. And you actually, when you lean on this other guy going into the room, then you're giving away some of your power. So that's
Yeah,
actually something that I'm here to work on with you, and I know you can do it. It's
I
just
love
believe,
it. Thank you.
you know.
Yeah, I second that. And,
Yeah,
I could even just sign up to do the masterclass it has available where it teaches me those steps and then I can do it. But I don't think it's worth the money.
yeah. No, I mean, I think you actually have, and you've done so many pitches. So
True.
that is, that's it's basically refining it, getting comfortable with it, and getting so excited about what you have that you're inviting them to join in to what it is that you're building. And you know getting to a point where in your heart of hearts, Adis, that you're going to raise that money.
Yeah, true. Very,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah. So cool. So for those of you who just joined, welcome,
Thank
welcome.
you.
We were just going through the challenge, the questions in the day 3 of the challenge, and just hearing some feedback about, what part of you still associates the thing that one big thing that you want to create in 2025 with pain or pressure or fear or harm. That's what we were looking at. And then if either of you want to, Catherine or Helen, if you want to comment on that, you're welcome to. Putting you on the spot.
Sorry, I'm not entirely prepared. I'm also like jump from another thing to here.
No
Uh,
worries. No worries.
but to get to that question, like the goal in 2025 is for me is to build out a book of clients that is diverse in its stage of development. A little bit background about my little LLC. I created a full service financial consultancies this year on my own. I have 20 plus years of experience in finance, and I've been working with startup in the past like decades or so. Have collected quite a lot of expertise in terms of execution, capital deployments, and fundraising, all the good stuff. My fear is like, well, what if I don't have what it takes to build this book of clients? So for the past 7 months, really fine-tuning my market positioning, talking to Rebecca was tremendously igniting to give me the courage to position myself better in the market. Um, but also start trusting myself more. I think that was like the key um, to be able more confidently put myself out there. I mean, I have more conversation with more CEO the past couple of days. We're
Good.
channeling what we learned in the 3-day challenge. Um, I guess that's still the fear, like not able to make it to achieve that book of clients, the diversity that I want. The harm probably coming from like constantly chasing, and it has been helpful to going through the 3D challenge has been helpful to kind of remind myself. I actually just talked to Helen about this earlier, that
Cool.
I'm like consciously now like say, all right, like are you chasing too hard? Like are you just chasing doing the wrong thing chasing? Is this the time to pause, to regroup, re-energize, and continue the chasing? Right? Because the urge of chasing coming from like, oh my God, like haven't been making money for haven't been making real money for 7 months. When am I gonna start making real money? But like in reality, like money is not a problem at that moment. Like I need to keep reminding myself, but like having someone have a career for 20 years, it's in the back of your head, like, should you be producing something?
It's huge. That is not to be what's
Is
the
it?
word? I mean, that is so big and real for most
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. I think I did mention that in one of the days, but just that feeling unsafe when you're not when you're in that period between when you're building and when you're not yet generating revenue, and holding that is what this is all about. This conscious leadership is being able to have staying power through that period, because you have such conviction, and you also have a very clear intentions. You have a vision of what it is that you want, and you're so in love with what it is that you're creating, right? That you figure out these are the tools that we work on of how to have staying power through those dips, through those fearful moments where you're judging yourself because you're not generating the revenue that you used to when you had your corporate job. or when you had your other business, in your case, Andy, when it was a different clientele completely, and then you switched to this new model, this new ideal customer, and it's a completely different sales process that feels different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't sell, right? Like I used to work for CEO, CFO. I don't need to
And
sell. Like this is brand new territory that I'm actually selling to a new CEO every other day.
and
So
and if it's a lot of this is a lot of what we work on, ongoing basis is noticing that, and then reframing. I call it recalibrating. But so from chase to you are sharing opportunities. You are sharing opportunities, and the no is next opportunity. NO equals next opportunity. So you don't like start, judging yourself. I'm a loser, I can't sell. Oh, I can't go to investors because other people know how to do it more. They've had more success. When I went to investors, I had zero track record. Zero. There were no accelerators telling you how to do it. There were no coaches. I just did it, and I fumbled my way through it. And, I just kept going. And it's kind of like we're selling my mom's house, right? And we've gotten one bid on the house. It was a total low ball, ridiculous. And we're like, no, someone will come along. The right person will come along, right? So your right founder will come along. And as you accept clients and as you hit milestones, you'll notice, okay, this employee didn't work. I learned. Next opportunity, next person, right? Without wasting a ton of energy on beating yourself up. That's huge. So
that is so true. So investor outreach, leaders probably can relate to this. I have worked with investor for many years, but like my CTF always takes the lead. Having sitting in the driver's seat, it's scary. So like but what I learned by recently dealing with more investor, they're actually less scary than it is. Like the
right,
lessons, it's. I mean, I still craft like my message for a long time before I send it out because that fear. But
right,
after talking to a few of them. They
yeah,
just want to find a right opportunity at the end of the day. They don't
yes.
really care where you're coming from,
And
really. Like
that's a
they're
perfect
looking for a
example of
strategic man.
recalibrating. Right. Yes. So great example. Such a good example. And that is what I was talking about with, so when we talk about confidence, is one of the three pillars of the leadership cohort is, and Adis knows this, but so one of the pillars is confidence, and confidence itself is kind of a misnomer. People think you're born with it. No, there's certain areas of your life, I can guarantee, there's certain areas of your life you're super confident in. Like you don't even think about them. You go do it and you don't even think about it. So it's the new things that you are encountering, kind of like gaming. You can get to one level, you're a beginner, and then you kill all these people. You get to the next level. You're scared. You like get your talent. You figure it out. Then you get to the next level and you're a beginner again. So it's just knowing that and having having a safe place. I like to call it a safe place to practice it and talk about it and move through it. Because if you ignore it, we talked about this before. If you ignore it, it's gonna continue until you address it head on and recognize it. So anyway,
Can I also share?
Helen, yeah,
Yeah. So, I guess for me, I'm sure that happens to everyone. Like, okay, so like before getting into entrepreneurship, a lot of us had like very successful careers as employees, right?
Mhm.
And you're like making a lot of money, you're like being super successful at your job. That's why you want to like start off on your own and things like that. But then it's like your validation of your salary or like recognition is like just like there's no signal until much, much later. So like there's this period. So right now, I think my biggest fear is that I'm about to send out like MVP demos and launch the MVP. So like I'm like, what if no one wants to use it? Like, and what if everything is just so wrong because I've never done this before, you know? So it's just like such a different thing to like work for yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and especially coming from a very comfortable salaried job. I don't know if
Yes.
that makes sense.
Absolutely. And absolutely. I could pretty much guarantee every single startup founder has that, has that kind of anxiety because
Yeah.
they've earned, I mean, I sure did. I went
Top
for,
earners,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, just several years with no salary with museumshop.com. And I didn't allow myself to have salary until we raised the first round of venture funding because I was paying all my employees and,
Mhm.
yeah, so, but that was my decision, right? And fortunately, I was married and I was able to make that work. And it's difficult if people don't have savings, right? But even if
Yeah.
you do have savings and you have a cushion, it's still
It's still
it's
scary.
it's scary. And so that is exactly what needs to be addressed because one must get to a point where you feel safe. Like I'm looking at you right now, Helen. You happen to be right in front of my camera, but you have food on the table, right?
Yeah.
You have a roof overhead. You have internet connection. You freaking have Harvard degrees,
Yeah.
right? You've got a team. Like
True.
there are so many things that are going right, and that you created with your ingenuity and your brilliance. And it's kind of having this group around you to that remind you of that, to
Yeah,
create a place of
it's
safety
true.
and also create, okay, well, I will do this for X amount of time. And
Mm-hmm.
if we haven't hit XYZ milestone or this milestone, then we'll reevaluate. But
Yeah.
for right now, to get yourself to a point where you feel comfortable that you are at a stage in your career and life
Mm-hmm.
that you are foregoing that salary temporarily until you get to XYZ and feeling a-okay with that and safe.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also the I just need to remind myself like the whole reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to keep chasing a promotion and more salary. Like I was so
Yeah,
done with that. Like
yeah,
I have to remind myself that, and also sometimes when I'm feeling really insecure, I just tell myself, you know what, worst case scenario, this doesn't work, I can go back to get another job. That's ex
right. And
Go back
actually,
to exactly where I was.
we work on that a lot. Actually, it is one of the we in the past cohort, there was someone who was in a very early stealth stage,
Yeah.
and so this was her first time moving out of corporate into founder role, and it was really, really, it was quite a reckoning, right? And so one of the discoveries that she made is that she was pushing too hard. Catherine, you're talking about pushing. So trying to get XYZ, get revenue by this amount of time, and it was actually not healthy for her. So she learned that she needed to take a step back, which felt like failure, but it's not failure because she learned a ton, and she's still doing consulting work and generating revenue in a parallel
Hmm.
area. But this internal pressure to get the startup up and running within like 6 months she realized that for her, at her stage in life right now, and at the stage of the company, that was maybe an unrealistic expectation. And so, again, so that's some of the kinds of things that we work through, because if you don't have a sounding board, it's really
Yeah.
hard to go through all these like, you know, brain games on your
Yeah.
own. So
Yeah, for sure.
Another, can I chime in here really quick? Another
please
good
do.
point of
Yes.
that conversation was that she felt she had to be very structured, like Gantt chart, like project management for her team or her clients, but then she also wanted to do the same thing for herself, but it's almost like you actually have to give yourself as the main leader that wiggle room so
Mm.
that you can carry or like have a backpack of everything else that needs to go perfect for your team or your clients. And I do have to say, like, that's where Rebecca, you've done a fantastic job with just like each and every single one of us. And yeah, just lucky to be a part of it.
It's such, it is so cool. I don't know. Thank you, Adis. I really appreciate that. I received that. It is so cool to have this intimate group of people that you trust, that you can talk about these things with.
Yeah.
I think, as someone said, there really is no judgment, because I have failed miserably in many, many, many times over in my 60 years. So it's not like I'm going to judge anybody for being hard on themselves or for, collapsing at a certain point when things get too rough or when life starts lifing. I think, Helen, you had said you had surgery. If
Yeah.
things come up, right? Things come up. And that is what this is all about. When you're a CEO, when you're in your CEO, when you're CEO of you, and you don't have to have that title in your company, but in other words, going from founder to managing your own leadership, that's what this is all about. It takes reps, and it takes going through these things until, okay, in that area, I feel super confident. In this area, I feel super confident. Here, I'm a little wobbly. So this is, and it's going to change from day to day, week to week, depending on what comes down the pike. So, yeah. So, let's see, how are we doing on time? Cool. Are there any other questions that any of you had based on the 3-day clarity challenge that you just wanted to ask me? Okay, and so if not, then I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk about a little bit more. And Adis, this might be a little bit of a repeat for you, because it's some of this I spoke about in our the other day, but just what expansion with confidence is all about, and the fact that it is available to you, and all the strategy, all the best tools in the world are really moot if you're not feeling centered and grounded yourself. So that's what this is all about. It is about well-being, but it's not fluffy. I mean, I have a business background, angel investing. I've been through what you're going through now as a startup founder, or for you, Catherine. The similarity here is my consulting coaching business. So there are so many parallels. You are a founder. You have founded an LLC, and Andy, you too. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a C Corp or an S Corp or LLC, it's still about leading yourself and ultimately your team when you start hiring, either whether it be subcontractors or FTEs. So, fact of the matter is that you're worthy no matter what you accomplish. So it's not just, you set your milestones, you set your directives in Conscious Leadership Cohort, and we will, as a group, hold you to those, but lovingly. It's not like hard and fast, like you're going to be, hit on the knuckles if you don't do something. It's on you, and the whole point is helping you motivate yourself and your team and feel good about your leadership, and guide you to move in the direction that you have really set your intentions for. You've consciously asked for this. So it's basically learning to trust yourself for the brilliant woman that you are. All of you, I've spoken to you individually at different times. You're all incredibly accomplished women with really great ideas, and you're doing hard stuff. So this is an opportunity, a gift to you to ensure that you're supported through this next 6 months. And my hope is that by the end, you'll have nudged into less scattered consciousness, more intentionality about you doing what you really are best at. And that is the self-discipline of aligning your conscious and unconscious desires. And, I do talk about this vibrational nature of us as humans. And well, I know we have a couple scientists here, so hopefully that's not too woo-woo, but I think it does help. It really does help to help you identify these patterns that are going on, and ultimately some of your limitations, what are currently perceived as limitations, are going to cease to exist because you've noticed them and you've shifted that energy, and you've noticed when you're out of alignment, and you are able to recalibrate. Now, you're still going to have shit days, okay? You're still going to have those like things that happen, but you'll be able to recalibrate faster, so it doesn't take you out for 2 weeks, or you don't get sick, right? Make sense? Okay. All right. So like this is what it's all about, and all of this will result in more clarity in your business, more confidence, and more and also really important is the consistency. And so that structure we build in is through, I mentioned I have this, it's like a course, but I have different modules on every topic that we go through together that you can watch on your own time, because I know you're all busy people. So it's asynchronous by intention. When we meet every other week, we will focus on one of those modules. So it might be Zone of Genius, might be something else entirely, and then give you an opportunity to look at that. How does that play out in my business? And then we have weekly Slack updates. This is such an efficient way. I know a lot of people are like, oh God, not another Slack channel, but it's very simple. On Mondays, we have, you set your intentions, and on throughout the week, you can have dialogue. And then on Fridays, we celebrate. And then any updates with the Zoom links and everything are on there. So it's your one-stop shop for communication. All right. Any other things that do any of you have specific questions about the cohort, or are you interested, or is this something that you would like to follow up on a little bit? And if you don't feel comfortable saying here, you can just set up a 15-minute call with me, and you can ask specific questions. I'll put the link in here. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment and let you guys ask questions. Hang on, where's my little 15-minute? Question? Oh, you're on mute.
It's now a 6-month cohort.
It is.
Is that what I'm understanding? Okay.
Yeah, and so I know you were in an earlier iteration of this, Andy, which was so fun. What I've decided to do is just make the learnings and the modules much tinier. They're like bite-sized, so that it's not a heavy lift, so that you're just getting some bite-sized leadership tools. And then really the emphasis is on the your own accountability through Slack, and then our alternating. We have 2 times a month we have group sessions where we do this, but we talk about a specific topic or anything that has come up in your business. And so you can learn, you can learn from each other and hear what others are going through. And that, I think that is so important for founders, because it's so easy to get siloed, and you go to these you go to these networking meetings, you meet all these founders, but it's like, yeah, I just want to have a dedicated time where I address my challenges and, or I can vent or get some insight. And, so that's how we do it. And then we have 4 different guest speakers throughout. And then I'll do occasional master classes on any topic that anybody is interested in. If there's one of these modules that you really want to dig in deeper, we can dig into those, or new learnings that I've learned. Let's see, what am I forgetting? Yeah, and so the other part of that is that I think 6 months, 3 months is the first few months you're really getting in a rhythm, setting your first quarter intentions. And then the rubber kind of hits the road at month 3. Then you go back and look at those intentions again. So we'll go back and look at your 90-day plan. And it could have changed completely, right, Adis? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Another woman in our group, like her number 2 priority completely went off the board because they realized that there was a faster way to revenue. So that was like completely eliminated.
Yeah.
So a plan, it's, if you don't have a plan, then you don't know where you're going. But the difference between having a plan when you're a startup founder or whether you have your own small business and being in a company or a corporation is that some of those plans are like, 12, 6 months in advance. We're looking at every 3 months is a year for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using, that is actually from a book called the 12-week year. I've kind of borrowed that, and I have kind of a template that you can fill out, or you can use a Google Sheet to create your first 3-month objectives. Then we look at it midway through. Where are you at? So that is the roadmap that we use, and it's always moving because you're continually recalibrating.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Edith, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead, Catherine.
My concern is like my schedule gonna be so unpredictable. If either I'm chasing client or if it does take off that I have probably committed to my clients, then I'm falling short of allocating time to the cohort. Can you give me a little bit more details in terms of
Absolutely.
the
Yes. So
possibility?
the other part of it, so there's 2 levels. So there's the regular level, you'll get, I'm actually increasing it. So there's 2 one-on-one coaching calls. So those you can schedule whenever. The alternating meetings are Tuesdays at noon. And so I just request that if you're committing to the cohort that you just block off Tuesdays at noon, every other Tuesday at noon. So that's your commitment. And then everything else can be done on off hours. I want to minimize any, I want to free up your work day as much as possible, so that's not a heavy lift, but that we're available. I'm available to you, and I'm available to you through Slack. And then if you want, I also use something called Marco Polo. Some people are, so those of you who are getting ready to raise from angel investors, I highly recommend using the Marco Polo because it gets you comfortable presenting, getting yourself on camera, and we can do your practice pitches there. So, yeah.
And what are some homework like offline?
So I don't like to use the word homework. It's more like exercises, like you get out of it what you put into it. So for instance, the one thing that is required is the 90-day, the 90-day plan. We will do a 90-minute onboard, the kickoff call where we dig into that deeply and develop your plan. And then one-on-one, you can meet with me to really refine that. I use Google Docs, so you can share. You can just share it and have it in a shared folder. And so my interest is really supporting you in the most efficient way possible. So you feel like you have somewhere to go when you are bumping up against these challenges, these pits. Adis, do you want to comment on anything else?
I was going to say, yeah, continuing to your horn, basically that I didn't realize how much I needed this until like I, fell into the crises of needing it. And then thankfully was able to join the last cohort. But it almost also made me realize that this should be a requirement that every investor, or, if you are building out your consulting group or firm or whatnot, they make it a top priority, because at the end of the day, it is our sanity, and it is how we show up, and it is how we instill confidence in others to like provide results and continue to be a good person. And so I know, like, I think here in Chicago, there's only one group, 11 Ventures or something like that, that's part of their thesis. That they want to make sure that founders' well-being is like put first. But I don't know that everyone does that. And
Yeah, it's one of my frustrations
in this
with
day and age, it should
VCs.
be.
I know. Thank you. Yeah. And that's why I created. They always say, if you're not invited to the table, create your own table. So
True.
for me, I didn't have this when I was a founder, and I did burn out and I did get sick. So for me, it's like mission critical. And I think the biggest challenge for me is you guys are early stage founders. So what is a fair price for this? And so I'll just go into that. So that's why I'm offering early bird price, which is way lower than normal. So it's $7.97 per month, and then a discount if you pay up front. And I put a ton into this in terms of being there for you. This is my way of saying, wow, if I have a cohort, then you're benefiting not only from one-on-one coaching, but also from this group that really doesn't exist. Even if you have an accelerator, it's a lot of people coming in talking to you. This is more like, okay, what is your problem? Let's address it. Let's address it head on. How can you shift? How can you recalibrate? So that's where I differentiate. So yeah, and so the nuts and bolts of that, what I have now is a link for you. If you think that you're interested, you can just give me basically there's like a Thrive cart where you can write a $300 deposit, and then we'll get on a 15-minute call together to decide, okay, do you want VIP, which is monthly coaching, more one-on-one coaching on top, or regular is fine for you, and then whether you want upfront or payment plan. So that's just the admin nuts and bolts. But yeah, and I expect there to be probably no more than 6 people. And really what's most important to me is that you are committed to like running a successful business and managing yourself and growing together. And yeah, and it's such a cool thing. And then added benefit is I am happy, if you're working with me, I'm happy to make as many recommendations as possible of, whether it's bankers, lawyers, well, we might have a financial person in our midst, but other people in my ecosystem. Once I get to know you, then it's like, oh wait, you gotta meet so and so. And Adis, maybe you can comment on that.
Sorry, I'm trying to find my screen since I'm on my phone. Yeah, absolutely. I've been introduced to so many incredible women and men alike that are uplifting women by Rebecca. Including when I was having a legal crisis or many crises now that I found the right attorney, but everyone just had me in the gray zone until I found the right person. And so it was good. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Well, now let me share. I promised to share some prizes with you. But bum. So there were a couple people here that were eligible, but they didn't show up today. So I'm going to share with you the three prizes. The first is this book. This book here, and it's by Marcia Dellwood. I think I told you all about it. And Catherine, you won that. Yay! And some goodies. And the next is a 60
Pick it up at your home.
No, I can mail it to you. Whatever. We can meet at a cafe again. She's in the same town. And then the 60-minute one-on-one advisory coaching is Adis. You won that. Yay.
Thank you.
And then the scholarship, Helen, you won that.
Oh
So
my God.
50% discount if you choose, to join the cohort. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what I'll do is just share this little 15-minute link, and you guys can just book an individual call with me, and we'll over the next week. I am traveling to Cincinnati tomorrow afternoon for my mother-in-law's 94th birthday. So it'll be beginning either tomorrow morning or then anytime on Tuesday. Okay. All right. Hold on. Where's that little link? And any other comments? This has been so fun, and regardless of what you decide to do, this has just been a blast. This form of the 3-day clarity challenge is new teaching for me. So it's a new module within the Conscious Leadership Cohort. So it was just really fun to teach, and it represents a tiny, one portion of the whole learning in the cohort. So hold on, let me get that. I can't find my link on Bitly. Hang on. Hang on. Any other comments or anything before we head out? Oh, by the way, it starts September 16th. So the idea here is to take August off, and I'll be continuing to talk to other founders, but it will kick off on September 16th. Okay. Where is my link? Here we go. Here it is. There we go. That's the link. So you could just schedule a time that works for you. All right. Okay. Well, thank you again for your incredible attention, your great questions, your sharing what it is that you're working on. It's so cool. I love this work. So thank you. And I will see you all soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.